All right, welcome to the R&R Show. Sit back and relax and enjoy the best little sports show ever. I'm your host, Michael Roope, and on the other side of the camera here is my co-host, William Rumsey. Hello, William.
Who day?
All right, well, once again, we're kind of improvising here. I don't have quite all my my usual setup over here in my office, so we're it's a little more barbaric right now, William.
It is. It takes us back to our origins.
It does. I don't have the lights.
Yeah.
We're kind of down to the bare knuckles right now.
I mean, we didn't have the camera angles right. I had a white T-shirt with the number 9 drawn on it in support of BDJ, Joe Burrow. So yeah,
and here we are. We're coming full circle pretty much right now as of right now tonight. So
we are.
But William and I thought it was important for us to kind of get together to talk about the big letdown from Sunday night when the Bengals took on the Ravens. Obviously, we had high hopes to put a stranglehold on the division, ascend to the top of the division with that win, and that would have gave 2 straight weeks of the Bengals winning with all the teams losing, but unfortunately, we came up on the short end of the stick on Sunday night, William.
We did. I mean, that's a tough road division game. Baltimore is obviously better this year than they were last year because, I mean, we rolled over them last year. Yep. It was tough. I mean, it went down to the very end. I mean, there's about 800 different things we can bitch about and will bitch about. But it was a tough, I mean, I think we continued down the path, the offense really struggling. It did not help that T. Higgins was out pretty much the whole game. He's been the best offensive player we've had all year. So it was a tough road loss, and it just, it didn't help the fact that we lost those first 2 games. So now we're 2-3 and we're up against it.
Well, it was a weird kind of game because early on, you really thought the Ravens were going to blow the doors off the Bengals. I mean, after those first couple series, you're like, oh boy, what are we doing? But obviously, this is the NFL. There is good coaching staffs on every team, and they figured out what the Ravens were doing defensively. In my eyes, and they decided to pound the rock. When they started pounding that rock, obviously the type of defense the Ravens were playing, they were wanting to make sure that Joe did not beat them and go over top. And what they were trying to do is, they were going to let him run the ball. And run the ball they started to do, which was good to see on from a standpoint of we hadn't done it pretty much all year. It was nice to see that running game kind of get on some of its footing.
It was. I mean, we saw Joe Mixon just struggle to get his game going. Now they had I don't want to say players only, but Joe met with the offensive line the week before. And, I don't know if that had anything to do with it or it was just the game plan, but he looked spry, as we like to say. He was getting good chunks of yardage that we thought would open up the passing game, and it didn't. I mean, Burrow struggled, the whole offense. I mean, anybody and everybody, you look on social media, the national media, they're talking about Zach giving up play calling. The play calling is horrible. I'm not Mr. Realtor of Southeast Indiana. I'm not going to question play calling of a Super Bowl head coach, but I'll let you do that.
Well, I'll say right now the play calling. I don't think it's any mystery. It's been god awful. I mean, it's unimaginative. And then when they decided finally to throw some imagination in it, is when they shouldn't. So it's like they can't like get out of their own way. It's crazy. Kind of going back to that goal line stand, which has been on the minds of all Bengal fans. It's crazy. What got them down there was just good old fashioned roll the sleeves up, play, smash mouth football. And they ran that ball straight down the field and it was just gashing them. And Baltimore on their heels at that point. I mean, Baltimore all of a sudden had no answers for the Bengals. The Bengals figured out basically let Lamar try to beat him with his arm and get, let's shorten the line of scrimmage, stack the line of scrimmage. Don't give him any lanes to run. And Lamar couldn't hit a downfield pass to save his life. Then the Bengals figured out they needed to run the ball. So then they start gashing them. And then we get to the whatever it was, 1st and goal. And I don't know what was that from, like the
Two.
Two or three. First of all, the first play should always be the run. Let's see if we can get the cheap tutty, run it in, no harm, no foul. Let's not have to throw too much imagination at it. Just pound. Because again, you had got to that point, pounding the football down the field. So the first play they ended up trying to throw a pick pass, not to one of your stud receivers, a tight end. Again, I'm not saying anything about Hayden Hurst because I really like he's starting to break a little bit, and I really like the utilization of him.
Mm-hmm.
But and that call should have not happened. That should have been a run on the first down.
Yeah.
The down play, like, okay, this is where the chicanery started coming in. What are we doing? Like
I expected a clown car to show up and clowns start to pile. Do you think so the Philly you're talking about the Philly special, the reverse for Burrow?
Oh, that on second or third? I think it was.
That was on second. That was on second because they lost like 12 yards and then somehow they got it.
Oh yeah, they got Chase's hands and he kind of get.
But it was almost like the way I envisioned it was that, Zach maybe had read the press clippings that he wasn't creative enough with his play calling. But, man, I'm with you. Like, the 2-yard line, I think Bengals fans are a forgiving bunch. We've been through a lot of shit, thick and thin, over however long you've been a Bengals fan. I have been. But I just don't think trying that play, the Philly special, and then the shovel pass to Stanley Morgan, we're like, you know what? I would rather see you try to throw it to Jamar Chase 3 times, 4 times, or even Hayden Hurst. He was having a great game. I think he's a beast now. Yeah. He's got the added being at Baltimore, the team that drafted him, traded. Like I think we can forgive that or Mixon, but the shit that they threw out there, I can't.
You could forgive a run into the running with Mixon or even P. Ryan. P. Ryan's a bulldozer. Yeah. I don't ever gets negative yards. I mean, the guy, he runs. I mean, he is a north-south runner, and he is going in that line of scrimmage to pick up.
He did get lit up in the Super Bowl on that last drive.
Yeah, but whether it was P. Ryan or Mixon, I wouldn't have minded. I mean, the first down definitely. Even if he would have done it on the second down, I wouldn't have cared.
Or a Burrow sneak, like they punched in.
Yeah. But out of those 4 plays, if you were already in your head and you were going to be committed to trying to punch that thing in for a touchdown, which I don't fault it, but one of those 4 plays better go to your moneymaker Chase. Mm-hmm. I mean, they had been playing teams with just right at the front end of the end zone in the corner, and they had that all year. Yeah. It seemed. And you know what? One of those plays had to be to Chase, and it just wasn't. We threw a Philly special, a shovel pass, and then a pick pass, and then the third down play where they got it back. But it was a comedy of errors, and despite the funny thing is, as we sit here, William, the Bengals could very easily be 5-0.
They could.
They could. So. On the flip side of who they played in the Super Bowl, the Rams, they're god awful. I mean, if you look at them, they've been getting blown out. At least the Bengals have been in these games. They very easily could be 5-0. The Rams are nowhere close to being a contender at this point, and I don't think they ever will with that line. But that being said, hey, all
right, I'm just gonna say it. What's wrong with Burrow?
Well, there's a lot going on with Burrow right now. I think and we can't use the appendix. the appendix and stuff. That should have been already. He had to have shaken off the rust. I think it's a lot. And I think a lot of it starts with the biggest bust I've ever seen for a free agent signing in Bengal history, Lyle Collins. That guy is worse than what we ever had. He is in like Bobby Hartland right now.
Yeah,
And
but you know what? A caveat to that is like all the stats and everything I've seen online, the pass protection they say was really good the other night.
I just don't see it with Collins. Maybe as a unit, okay, but Collins, it's just not.
No, I mean there were some times that we saw him just get beat like a drum.
Like he get out of
but but here's the thing, that was happening all last year too.
Correct. But I think Joey B last year, when he got finally acclimated with getting the hell beat out of him, he knew he had to get it out a split second. I think going into this year, he thought he could hold the ball longer and try some big plays, because all those plays, a lot of those plays, he got the ball out quick last year, and then those receivers, i.e. Jamar Chase, was exploding, doing the rest down the field. I don't know what his average attempt was downfield.
Wasn't very far. It wasn't much.
The receivers were making those the plays, big plays. I mean, he wasn't just throwing for it because he had to get the ball out quick. They may have to go back to that again. I mean,
I think it's the defensive. The defenses have figured him out, and it's a game of chess. He needs to adjust.
Yeah, and he hasn't adjusted yet.
No, I mean that interception he threw the other night, and again, a realtor in Southeast Indiana isn't going to judge too harshly a quarterback in the NFL, but that was just not Joe. I don't know what. I mean, I don't know if he's frustrated. I don't know.
Yeah. I think they fooled him. They quite frankly, they fooled him. And if I know it's the play, if I can remember correctly, he acted like he was coming in on a blitz.
Yeah, it was Patrick Queen, and
yeah,
he sprinted back, dropped back. I get it. Every quarterback's going to make that throw, but I think it's just
even Tom Brady does it. But I tell you what, it's getting magnified right now.
I think life, when people are pissed off, life is all about where reality doesn't meet expectations. Again, before the year started, we were talking about 50 tutties, MVP, going back to that success. Well, the first quarter of the season, now more than the first quarter, it just, everything has just, outside of the defense, has fell off. Special teams, Huber, McPherson, Burrow, Mixon, I mean, offensive line, it's just an operation. And then NFL, it's like you got to fix that quick. It's not like Major League Baseball. You have 162 games. You got 17. You better get your shit together.
Well, and here's the deal is I think this is, and hopefully that was a good sign of them starting to be able to run the ball. Mm-hmm. Maybe simply is the defenses are not going to let Joe beat them. And if you're going to beat him, you're going to need to pound the rock. And then obviously then the play actions will come and all that good stuff. And
the Bengals have the running backs to do that. Mixon and Piron, pound them. If that's what they're getting, they pound them.
Yeah. And you know what? And hopefully, they figured out, obviously we're not looking at the game film. We're not looking to see the blocking combination. We're not seeing what defenses are doing except for the glimpses we catch on the TV. But I have got to think that they're going to establish this run this week against the Saints. I mean, New Orleans is not an easy place to play.
No.
That crowd's going to be, and I'm just going to call it right now. If Collins doesn't show them something this week, you got to bench him.
Yeah.
And here's my inkling that what's going to end up happening. We're going to have 3 false starts from Collins this week by the crowd noise. I'm guaranteeing it because to me his head's not in the game. Obviously with the shovel pass, he was going the wrong way on the block. Obviously then you had Zac Taylor, chasing him down. Collins acted like he didn't want to hear it. But then, I sent out the video to our thread. They were interviewing Collins, and he's saying how he trusts the game plan, the calling. I'm like, buddy, you are stealing from the Bengals right now.
Yeah, I mean that Zac Taylor Collins confrontation on the sidelines, that didn't look good. Now those two are saying all the right things in the public, but some shit's going on behind closed doors. I don't know.
Well, if I tell you what, and this right here is going to test Joe's leadership. I put his foot in his ass and tell him, because you bet your sweet ass like a Dan Marino or Tom Brady, he would be all over them getting in their faces, because if they can't block, get them the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Joe needs to step up and be that voice. Because we kind of talked about this. I mean, I'm getting the sense that Collins may be a cancer,
Well, yeah.
And if he is a cancer in that locker room, I'm telling you could just tell there's just a different vibe going on with this year's Bengals.
Yes.
Last year's, and it may just be as simple as that player. I mean, once you get some negative juju in the locker room, man, a team can go south pretty quick.
Yeah, and the Bengals aren't known to really cut ties real quick with somebody, so I don't know. I don't even really know. I know the contract. I don't know how quickly they can get off of it, and that's crazy that we're sitting here talking about. But I agree with you. The bad juju, it can, like you said. I don't know. Well. So there's all the negativity. The defense.
I was going to say on the flip side of things.
On the flip side, the defense, man, they have not allowed a second half touchdown all year. I think they did a hell of a job on Lamar Jackson. Von Bell is straight up balling.
Yeah, that's second there, and then they got that Cambridge Taylor back.
Yeah.
So I tell you, the Bengals defense is doing lights out job. The coordinator, him adjusting on the fly, because it's a series. I mean, you thought it was just going to be a blowout city,
right?
But he's a damn good coordinator. Like he adjusts on the fly probably better than most. He's probably in the top 10 is adjusting on the fly, as evident with the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. They look like to blow the doors off of him. He made the adjustments, and then tighten the screws down. So I enough about that defense. Although I think we all kind of knew, when they scored early, that the writing was on the wall with Tucker hitting that game winner.
Yeah, that guy's a machine.
He is. I mean, but I can't fault the defense. And we were even on that thread. We're like, we don't want the Bengals. We want them to try to score on third down. I mean, because they had no timeouts left. Bleed that extra 45 seconds.
It was almost like we'd like to see them run it like they ran the end of that first Kansas City game last year to win the division. Just bleed the clock and just kick the field goal at the end. And I don't know, man. The season has not met our expectations. But hey, it's the Bengals. It's a long season. They can turn it around. We believe in Burrow, and we're not. I mean. I don't want to seem like I'm so down on Burrow. I think he's horrible. There's something amiss.
Well, the good news is obviously you get the Ravens again, and you'll get them at home. And then obviously they still have to play. Have they played the Browns once already?
No, they have not.
Okay, so I mean, Browns are going to be a juggernaut. I mean, they're a tough team now. They've lost a heartbreaker in Diego, but they've got a good team, and it's only going to get better when Deshaun gets under center and gets settled in. But so the division isn't over by any means. You're one game back. Steelers they're pretty much they're toast at this point. It really hurt Austin. It's crazy we did, but they I think are pretty toast at this point. But everything's still in front of them. But these next 3 weeks are going to be crucial. That the next 2 weeks are definitely you have got to win these next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
No matter Get back on the other side of the 500, and then you set up that big showdown with Cleveland in the third week coming
Yeah,
up.
so they've got the Saints this weekend, and then they have Atlanta at home,
Yep.
and then at Cleveland. So yeah, I mean,
You got to win these two. You
do.
I mean, and I tell you who's licking their chops right now is Cam Jordan. You don't tell me he ain't seeing, that product with Lyle Collins and just thinking he's going to feast.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be an emotional game. Burrow, Chase going back to New Orleans. I mean, there's going to be a lot of Burrow and Chase fans down there.
Trey Hendrickson going back up.
Oh, yeah.
Got that aspect of it too.
Von Bell.
Yep. So you've got a lot of, different little angles but I'm telling you right now, it's going to get down to, I think that Burrow and Chase are going to want to cook. I think they're going to show, obviously, and you know what? It may not be as pro Saints crowd as we think because of that Burrow Chase, which is going to help because that stadium is probably a top 5 stadium getting loud.
Going to be a lot of LSU ladies there to see Mr. Burrow.
Oh yeah, they love them some Joey B. That's for sure.
Are we going to do a prediction?
Yeah, let's do this. I mean, obviously, there's still a lot of variables. We don't know if Jameis Winston's going to play, but I don't know.
The red rifle.
There's another aspect that
man.
Boy, we would love the red rifle to be playing. I'll tell you that.
Oh man, a lot of storylines to this game.
Yeah. We're hoping the red rifle, and he very well might play. I think Michael Thomas is expected to be back.
He is.
He did not look good on that concussion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he will be cleared to play, but I will tell you this: we do have to worry about the Taysom Hill wild card because it looked like he's going to definitely be someone that the coordinator is going to have to game plan for.
Yeah,
but we do hope the rifle plays because you know what that means. A pick 6 for the Bengals. That noodle arm, I tell you what, he couldn't throw it out if his life depended on it.
No. Well, I'm going to take the Bengals 27-21.
27-21. I like that score, but I tell you what, I got to think the Bengals are going to do even better. This offensive output has to be coming, William.
Man,
I'm telling you, it has to be coming. Hopefully T is right. Hopefully he doesn't screw fantasy managers this week and them with playing and then play 4 or 5 snaps. But if we have the whole cast of players, I think they established the run early, William. And I think that the big plays are coming because the Saints like to play an aggressive defense, and quite frankly, that'll play into the hands of Joey B and Jamar Chase to put on a show. So I'll go to the tune of 34-17.
Oh God.
Yeah.
34-17. You're not that damn worried about Cam Jordan?
No, not that worried. Well, because we're getting a pick 6 on the defense.
Okay. 34-17.
And via the Dirty Dalton or Jameis Winston pick 6, and both of them throw a lot of picks.
They do.
Yeah.
Like you said, our secondary is really good. So
very
exciting times.
Yeah, and I like it, I'm not worried. But I tell you what, got to win these next 2 weeks. If we don't win these next 2 weeks, boy oh boy, it's getting dicey.
Then it'll be we'll be discussing what the Bengals are going to pick in the NFL draft.
Not yet. We're not ready to get to that. It's getting dicey because that back half of the schedule is very, very tough.
It's ugly.
It is. Hey, but real quick, but as I just wanted to touch base on that offensive line. Do you besides Collins, do we feel pretty good about the rest of those guys?
I do.
Okay. Good.
They say Jonah Williams had the best graded game of any Bengal on Sunday night.
Very nice.
So that he's been struggling a little bit this year, so that's good. I think the line outside of Collins has been doing well.
Yeah, and I still think that Joe needs to pick it up. He needs to make his reads a little quicker. I still think he's holding on to that ball just flick too long. But again, there was still a lot to like about the last week's game. I think the defensive side and the coordinator. I'm telling you, they are top notch, and they are dissecting stuff and getting a good game plan together. We just got to get right on the offensive side of the ball. And then one other thing I wanted to mention was, do we think that Zac Taylor will relinquish his play calling duties?
No.
No, I don't either. But what
Next year, but that's tough to change right in the middle of the year.
But the funny thing is when we hired him, it was all about the imagination of coming from the McVay tree, and there's
none.
Like in the middle of the field. I mean, like the funny thing is we even talked about that. Typically, those coaches script so many plays, and that script right out of the gate was like just a quick 2-yard out.
In their first 3 drives, they had 14 total yards.
Yeah, I mean, they were like little quick passes.
Well, I know, because they were talking about, the last couple of weeks, like, the Bengals need to take the ball at the beginning of the game to get out strong. And it was like they were stuck in mud for the first quarter.
And I could even get behind like one quick pass just to get his feet under him. But man, that was just like 3. I was like, what are they like? Even kind of Collinsworth was like, well, another quick pass to Jamar, and he was laughing. He got smashed that second time. Okay.
Well, one thing to go back to the defense too. I know we're going back and forth. One thing I do want to, was it Collinsworth or Tirico? One of them said, this Bengals defense is really good, but they don't really have any superstars. I think that's bullshit. The only reason they don't have superstars is because they're in Cincinnati. I think there are some straight up stars on that defense.
Yeah, Logan Wilson is
Hendrickson.
Ray Hendrickson, and then that whole secondary is just they play lights out.
But Wouzier had like 1 or 2 catches for like 9 yards against him the other night.
Yeah,
that dude has been a straight stud since he came to the Bengals last year.
Oh yeah. They've definitely, and I tell you what, now they were given our other defensive end some love.
Hubbard.
Hubbard. Yeah, they were saying that that's the one you don't want to run against because he's just very athletic.
I just think, that defense from top to bottom, all levels. Pratt's good. Just all they miss Reader. That sucks losing Reader, but I don't think they really missed him much the other night.
No, they've got a good unit, and I look forward to if we get win these next 2, man, that Browns game is going to be wild.
It is.
We got to win that one too before Deshaun gets back under center.
I agree.
Yep. So, all right. Well, boys.
All right, buddy.
We kind of we got some stuff off our chest, William.
We did. I feel better. I'm gonna sleep like a baby tonight.
Right. Well, we'll circle back around after the big.
That's why I was laying in bed last night. I was like, what am I gonna say to Uncle Donnie tomorrow night? And we just got it all out.
Yeah, I feel better.
I do.
Yeah. Very therapeutic. So we'll circle back around, talk about the Bengals big W after Sunday.
All right. Who day?
See ya.